Hello all. So I'm filming this video same day we filmed for the Countdown City WrestleCast earlier tonight. This video might go up before that because unlike JC, whose editing skills are phenomenal, I don't do a lot of that as much anymore. I do when I get the chance, but that's neither here nor there. I remembered something that I had intended to make a video about before, but I did not because to take the back, I did make the video. It was pretty bad because I was very upset when I made it. I'm still upset about about what I'm about to say now, but I think I've calmed down a bit and I can say more. Put a more concise message out there, a better way to express this. Jimmy Rave, who is a wrestler I am a huge fan of. I have followed him since his ROH days, when he was the crown jewel of the Embassy, which was one of my favorite stables in all of pro wrestling. I loved the Embassy. I loved how they did things. Prince Donasta, one of my favorite managers in wrestling. Jimmy Rave recently tweeted out that he was retiring from pro wrestling because he had to have his arm amputated. Retiring is bad enough. Arm amputation is just tragic, and I feel so bad for him. So for those of you who don't know the rest of the story as to why I'm so angry and why I'm trying to keep it under control, hence the rubbing of the hands, he put up a GoFundMe. No, I'm sorry, he didn't put it up. It was organized for him to help him deal with some of the costs of the procedure, and everything like that. I will put the GoFundMe in the comments, and if it doesn't come up for anyone, if anyone wants to know, I'll be happy to link you to it. And I will link you the tweet I'm about to discuss as well. He tweeted out on December 2nd, I had to go back and find the tweet, that he said, apparently people want visual proof of my amputation. I'll probably delete it later. I hope this makes people feel better. Hashtag F my feelings, hashtag proof, hashtag 2020 sucks. This goes back to what I've been saying for years now, and wrestling fans, some of us, can be toxic, entitled little twits. I'm being very, very careful with my word selection right now because the video I did before was very angry and very, very, very non-Christian, let's put it that way. But I know that doesn't bother some of you. I try to put out logical and tempered arguments. Not so much this time. Because where do we get off making this man trying to prove anything? What right do we have? I'll answer that question for you. None. In this crappy, horrible year that we were having, which amazingly the pandemic probably isn't even the worst part of it anymore. How bad is that? Where we have our wrestling heroes dying left and right. Rest in peace, Pat Patterson, among many, many others. Road Warrior Animal, that came out of left field. So Pat Patterson's for that matter. This poor guy who doesn't even wrestle like on TV or anything like that, just wrestles in his territory and just was doing what he loves, has to have an amputation. And someone said, hey, this poor guy's having a tough time, who can donate and just help him out with some of these costs? Because, and in case any of you missed it, he's now lacking an arm. Now, I will admit, there are people who are scrupulous, who are liars, who are manipulative, who are evil, who will lie about something like this and take advantage of people. That happens because humanity is humanity. There are good ones, there are bad ones. That's a fact. But at no point on God's green earth should a person have to prove that they have to have their arm taken off. If it had come out that he was lying like later, whatever, if he took money for something that didn't really happen, hey, take him to court, take the money back, whatever. But don't do something like that until you know that's what happened. To demand a person who is going through enough in the current moment, let's just call a spade. Demanding anything from anyone right now in 2020 is kind of because this is already a craptastic year. If someone says they're going through a bad paper cut in 2020, that's could be the last straw. And honestly, I wouldn't blame some people. But for this poor man to A, have to deal with people not believing him, and then B, having to put up a photograph to prove he's missing an arm, really pisses me off. And I know some of you thinking I'm probably acting and just being overly dramatic. No, I'm legitimately fighting every urge of my being to not swear right now. I'm actually, my blood pressure is probably super unhealthy at the moment, because this is the limit for me. This is the line. This is where I've absolutely had it. It was bad enough with the Me Too thing when all of these poor women were coming out about stuff that had happened to them and things like that, and people weren't believing them until surprise. Yeah, some wrestlers happen to be scumbags. Like I said, humanity, good ones and bad ones. It's not every pro wrestler, but unfortunately, it's more than we wanted to admit to. But now we know. He lost an arm, people. He lost an arm. I cannot say that enough. He lost an arm. And what did his fans do? Okay, you know what? I'm taking that back. Not his fans. What did wrestling fans do? They demanded proof. Yeah, because Jimmy Rave has this long-standing history of lying to the fans and everything like that. This poor guy just does what he does most of the time. I don't know of any stories where Jimmy Rave has lied to the fans repeatedly. I don't know of any story where he's made up stuff about himself to the point where people shouldn't believe him anymore. I've never heard that kind of thing. So as far as I know, when Jimmy Rave says, hey, my arm's gonna come off so I can live, I'm pretty much believing Jimmy Rave saying, hey, this poor guy's arm is gonna come off so he can live. This is the problem with the wrestling fan community. It's far too toxic, and to me, this is absolutely the line for it. Hating a wrestling company because they're not booking it exactly like you want it, fine, whatever. That's whatever. But this is equivalent to when Roman Reigns was not being booked again like we wanted him to be, and some sick, twisted-minded person said that they wished he and his daughter would die in a car accident. The level of insane that is, to me, the level of sick-minded you have to be because you don't like a person's character in wrestling, that you wish death upon not only them but their child, is A, disturbing, and B, frightening. And this is even like with poor Sonya Deville when she had someone break into her house. And this happened to somebody else too. Was it Paige? I think it was Paige had someone try to break into her house, or did break in. If these people have legitimate psychological issues, I pray that they get the help that they need. People with legitimate psychological issues do legitimately need to get help. I solely support. I solely support that. I wholeheartly do. And if they have legitimate mental issues that they need to get diagnosed, taken care of, fine. But I think we also are discounting there are two other things that people just do not take into account. Outright evil, which is a thing, and pure ignorance, which is another thing that people do not want to admit that some people just have. Some people are just evil, some people are just ignorant. I don't know which of those two groups, or maybe the third group, people who have legitimate, psychological issues, were hounding Jimmy Rave to do this. But if you're of the group that needs to get psychological help, get the help. If you're of the evil group, you suck. If you're of the ignorant group, learn something. And I hope this taught you that. I'm not saying you should automatically believe every single thing everyone tells you. I'm not saying that. But I am saying when a person is going through something and they're admitting it on social media of all places, give them the benefit of the doubt until you know otherwise. And if you learn otherwise later, because that's how things happen sometimes, that's just what happens. That doesn't mean every person's lying. There have been people who've said things and then you find out later that they're lying. That doesn't mean everyone who says something the first time they say it is a liar. This man said he needs to have his arm taken off. His whole arm is no longer there. For a good majority of his life, he's had to have 2 arms. And now for medical reasons, so he can stay alive, he has to have 1. And what did the toxic community of wrestling fans do? They said, show us the proof. It's legitimately heartbreaking to me. It's legitimately heartbreaking because A, it's Jimmy Rave, and B, this is the result of it. It legitimately bugs me, man, and it honestly upsets me because this is so wrong. It's so wrong. It is so freaking wrong to do that to someone. It's not okay, man. I feel for this poor guy because, you coming and going. He's dealing with both angles. It's bad enough it's bad enough he has to accept losing an appendage, but then he has to retire from doing the thing that I think he's great at, Ring of Honor, TNA, and other places he should have gone. And then not only that, he has to retire. He's losing an arm, and now people don't believe him until he had to post a picture of it. It's legitimately heartbreaking, man, and it's honestly upsetting. I just don't know what else to say. I mean, of all the things that the internet, the toxic, and I'm gonna say the toxic internet wrestling community, the toxic wrestling fan community, because it's not everybody. It's not the entire internet wrestling community. It's not the entire wrestling fan community that's doing this, because there are some legitimately good wrestling fans. There are good people in the IWC, but there are some toxic, horrible ones out there. Pro wrestling has given all of us a lot, and we're in this age where we know a lot about storylines and like that, and we're still so critical of it. Like, this pro wrestling used to be the thing that will get us talked about for loving it, and now that we can get to the point where we can all love it and just talk about it openly, now we hate on other people for this and the other. That's a whole nother video, but okay, I managed not to cuss this video, but I did get super emotional. The glasses had to come off. This video went a lot longer than I expected it to. To Jimmy Rave, man, I am so sorry. I hope and pray something good comes for you next, man. I really do, because for the years of entertainment you gave me, and I'm just speaking from my own experience as one of the MC problems, the rock and rave infection with Lance, which was just, to me it was funny because Lance was playing with a guitar, but as a fan, man, I thank you for all the good times. I'm so sorry this is how it ends for you. I'm so sorry that this is how you're treated when it ends for you, and I hope and I pray that your wealth of wrestling knowledge can be put to use somewhere. There are so many companies now. So to AEW, to WWE, to Impact, to New Japan, to Ring of Honor, to NWA, to who else is running shows now? Wherever. If you're running shows, if you've got talent who need guidance, I fully say Jimmy Rave is your guy. I firmly believe Jimmy Rave is your guy. I don't know what more to say than that. So instead of my customer ending, I'll send this message directly to Jimmy. Thanks, Jimmy. I'm sorry about all this from beginning to end. I'm so sorry about everything that you've been going through. But as a guy who's forever your fan, from the heart, man, thank you for the memories. Take care of yourself, man.